Do you ever feel like your life just doesn't quite fit? Like everyone else around you seems to know what they're doing. They seem to have it all together, and you're sitting around thinking like, why does mine feel so off? Not necessarily in a dramatic way, just off. Like you get bored with things really fast. You outgrow things, you outgrow interests, you outgrow people. You question everything, things that you never questioned before. Suddenly you're questioning everything. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And no matter what you do or try, nothing seems to stick. You can do all the things. You can manifest, you can meditate, you can learn mindfulness tricks, you can hire a business strategist coach. You can do all the things. You just don't want to keep doing all the things. And after a while, that starts to mess with you because then it turns into, well, it must just be me. Am I the problem? Why can't I be normal and be content like everybody else? And honestly, it can feel isolating as hell because from the outside, your life might look completely fine. It can look completely perfect to everybody else. But internally, you're like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. Like something's missing or something's off track, or like you're supposed to be doing something else, but you have no idea what that something else actually is. And that's the part that drives us crazy because it's not clear. There's no label for it, and nobody can explain it to you. So instead, we internalize it. You start telling yourself things like, I can't stick with anything. I'm just too much. I'm too much for somebody else. I'm too much for this job. I'm too much for that person. I overthink everything. Why do I do that? Why does my life feel harder than it should be? And then you try to fix yourself. You try to be more consistent. You try to show up, be more disciplined, more focused, more like everybody else, more like that big square box that you think you're supposed to be in. And it still doesn't click. That's the frustrating part because it's not that you're not capable. You are, and you know you are. You are fully capable. You just don't fit into the version of life you've been told you're supposed to want. And yeah, that can make your life feel like it sucks sometimes. Not because it actually does, but because it doesn't match what you thought it was supposed to look like. This is actually where numerology started to make sense for me. Not in a let me predict your future kind of way, but in a way where I finally understood that this life of mine isn't random. There are certain patterns people live out over and over and over again. We're not talking about past life stuff. We can get into that in another conversation. But our life here right now, we have certain patterns. So, not just like, numbers you see on a clock, I'm talking about real life patterns, like the types of people you keep attracting into your life. I mean, come on, are you a bad picker? Do you constantly attract those types of people in your life that not are not necessarily, great for you? What about the kinds of jobs you go after and then get bored of? Probably because you might know what you're doing for that job, but you don't necessarily like what you're doing. The cycles where you feel really motivated and then suddenly you're not, just kind of falls flat. The way you'll outgrow a situation, even if it looks great on paper, like a really great written resume. Those are patterns. Numerology puts language to that. It helps explain why you operate the way that you do, why certain things never felt quite right, and why you keep getting pulled into different directions. And for some people, they're not just wired for a conventional path. They're not here to pick one thing and stay there forever. Some people are. That's what their numerology will tell them. But not everybody feels that way. Not everybody stays in one stationary place all their life. They're not here to just settle into something because it looks stable. They're here to evolve, to question things, to shift when something no longer fits. But when you don't understand that, you turn it into something that's wrong with you. You think you're inconsistent. You think you're difficult. You think you're lost. You think you're inauthentic, when really you're just not designed for a surface level place on this earth. And that can look really messy. It could feel messy. It can look like you're always starting over, like you don't have it together, like like you can't make up your mind. But from a different perspective, it's actually alignment trying to happen. It just doesn't look clean. When I started looking at this through numerology, it didn't magically fix everything overnight, but it did give me context. And once you have context, you stop fighting yourself so much. You start paying attention instead, not just to numbers, but to your life patterns, the patterns in who you're drawn to, who drains you, what you keep walking away from, what keeps calling you back, even when you try to ignore it. That's where your answers are. And once you start seeing that clearly, things begin to make a lot more sense. If you want help actually understanding what those patterns look like for you based on your numbers and your personal blueprint, that's exactly what I've put together in my personal numerology reports. You don't have to guess your way through it. And if this hit a little too close to home, just know there's nothing wrong with you. You're just wired differently.